Welcome to my June 2021 garden tour. This is Going Green Mom, and I also have a few tips for ways I am making sure I don't hurt myself or have major histamine reactions by working in the garden this year. Last year I had a lot of issues with the heat. Those are back in full force this year, but I've got a few tricks up my sleeves so I can actually still function. I am basically just trying to avoid cutting as many of the gladiola leaves as possible. I've barely been able to walk the last couple of days, so I am sitting on my bucket to do this, basically because it needs to get done. And I'm also going to be planting some zinnias. I don't know how to pronounce it. My daughter didn't like the way I pronounced it earlier. Anyway, my point is, I don't know if you guys can see this right now, but it's my Luggable Loo bucket. If I sit on the bottom of a 5-gallon bucket, it doesn't take long and my body is not happy. My legs will be numb from that little lippy rim thing that helps stabilize the bucket, but it's just not pleasant to sit on. So instead of doing that, this one, it's not open or anything, but the seat has sort of a little bit of a wave to it. So it's much more intuitive for how your body is and makes it much easier to sit and work. And since the last couple days I've barely been able to walk because of my hips, that is a very good thing. So hopefully we will get some glads out of these, but who knows. I pulled all of the full-grown bulbs last year thinking we were moving, and we didn't wind up moving. So these are basically coming up from, honestly, at the time I thought they were like some sort of insect larva or something, but they weren't. They were the little corms on the outside of the bulbs. So even if we don't see flowers on these this year, somebody else might next year, and we will just plant new whenever we figure out where we're going. But this is tip number 1 for today. I will show you guys another one when I get around to putting some seeds in the ground over here. You'll notice that I do take lots of breaks. I was probably outside for 15 or 20 minutes this time, and I waited until after I was out of the sun to go out and work in this area. But at the same time, I've also slowed down on what I expect myself to be able to do as well. This has gotten way overgrown just because when I had the energy and was feeling well, I didn't have good weather and vice versa. Combination of grass and spearmint. I didn't contain the spearmint when I planted it. I guess you could say I contained it to this whole area. That wasn't a good plan. And every year it tries to take over my lamb's ear, which you guys can probably maybe see. I guess tip number 2 might be considered working in the shade. With the mast cell issues, if I raise my heart rate, my mast cells degranulate. So I take frequent breaks and try not to get too hot. I don't typically have my water out here with me, just because there's not a great place to put it. Like even where you guys are sitting right now, kind of hazardous, because I can also see some poison sumac creeping up behind the air conditioner. I might not be allergic to poison ivy or poison oak. Definitely allergic to poison sumac. That was actually part of the catalysts for my first panic attack. I was covered 80% in poison sumac, and they gave me prednisone, both oral and topical, and 24 hours later I was in the ER. And that was pretty much the last time I took prescription anything, because by that point, well, I still take I will still take short-term antibiotics to please my oral surgeon, but he realizes I'm never going to take them as long as he wants me to. I don't know if that's because he saw me broken out in hives the one day I went in, or what the deal was, but I'll probably be broken out in hives by the time I get done with this project. I didn't bother putting gloves on just because it's going to get on my legs and everything too, but I'm sensitive to the spearmint at this point as well. That's one reason I take peppermint instead of spearmint. The mints are definitely good for keeping the testosterone pathways good. I think is the way the functional doctor that diagnosed me with the histamine intolerance explained it. And I am not getting the roots of all this mint. I'm just trying to get as much of it as I can. If anybody knows what, I'm assuming they're eggs of something. They're on quite a few of these plants where it just kind of looks like foam. Anybody know what that is? I know several things do it. It only seems to be on the spearmint here. I'm not seeing it on the lemon balm or the oregano. Of course, that could just be that it's not to that side of the house yet. Hopefully I'm not killing anything beneficial by pulling this. Also trying to get as much of the grass out as possible. The trailer park tends to get a little irritated with big stalks of grass. And I'm kind of surprised I haven't gotten tagged for this yet. Because normally it happens every year. Apparently it drips like soap suds too. So like I mentioned before, taking lots of breaks. I'm at about 12 minutes since I sat down here. I was probably over there for about 5. I'm gonna grab the phone, grab this stack of stuff, and go back inside. So it's been a few days since I was out here last, and it looks like it's going to be storming again. I'll insert some footage from our storms over the weekend. But I'm waiting on somebody to come pick me up to go pick up a car. So I need to get this done quick. The tip that I had that I didn't want you to let go of an old broken handle if you had one laying around before you hurt it. Sorry, I'm a week late. So anyway, I've got one piece of PVC pipe, one old broken rake handle, and I'm gonna go plant some zinnias. So the sound on here was really wonky. So basically I'm just poking a hole. Now I am planting into grass, but it's not difficult if you're planting into actually prepared soil with the rake handle, and then I'm sending the seeds down through the PVC pipe. And that's easier if there are not cobwebs in said PVC pipe. That's why you saw me banging it on the ground. The seeds were getting stuck. Now, that said, I'm not sure how many were actually seeds and how many were just like pieces of holes and petals and crap. They were very ununiform and most of them did not look like seeds. So we'll see what we get. So, I guess we'll see. I may have greatly overseeded this project. Or maybe not. I don't know. I've never grown zinnias before. Got home and realized that I had not taken any footage of the back here. This is a Roma tomato that I picked up from As Your Standard this week. And I will have peppers planted around that. And then these are the remaining two broccolis that did not die, but apparently have issues.